One of the areas we need to pay attention to is how to encourage different representations for men of color, because the media images of them are even more narrowly defined and concentrated around violence than for white males. But there's a reason to be optimistic here, as we're starting to diversify the range of ways that men of color can be shown. Take the example of the actor Avery Brooks in his role as Benjamin Sisko on Deep Space Nine. On the one hand, he's portrayed as a strong leader, yes, but he's also shown as a loving and nurturing father to his son. The show features some really moving scenes of affection and love that we wouldn't have found even a few years ago, where you actually see a father kissing his son. And when people of color are given the chance to tell their own stories, to portray themselves, we see a much richer and more diverse range of representation. Take the case of the director John Singleton and his film Boys in the Hood, where we actually get to see the complexity and humanity of people who live in poor neighborhoods. In one scene with Cuba Gooding Jr., we actually see a young black male crying and revealing vulnerability, which in popular culture is really unusual. Or look at the example of the great actor Edward James Olmos, who for the last 20 years has been trying to open up the way that Latinos are shown in the mainstream media. His character in Stand and Deliver, for example, is not a macho tough guy, but someone who shows courage and strength by stressing learning and education.
And the only thing I ask from you is ganas, desire, haircut. If you don't have the ganas, I will give it to you because I'm an expert.
Another interesting theme in Stand and Deliver is the struggle of the hard guy character, played by Lou Diamond Phillips, who obviously has a more thoughtful and intelligent side, but the tough guys that he's caught up in won't allow it to be shown.
You ain't gotta see. Don't give me no gas.
Yeah, I know about that. That was a mistake. I'm gonna fight straight. I got a little problem, though.
Yeah, me.
No, seriously, man. Books. Can't have the homies see me haul them around.
Wouldn't want anyone to think you're intelligent, huh?
So maybe I can have 2 books, keep one stashed at home, huh?
Our culture has opened up and become more diverse in gender, sexual, and racial terms over the past few decades. And obviously that's a good thing. But we always have to be aware that any time the culture opens up, there's always the risk that it will prompt a closing up and a retrenchment of certain threatened interests. And while we might celebrate some of the positivities are being represented, as well as men's lives are being lived out, there are some men out there who are really decentered by all of this. There are also some political interests at stake. For example, the radical right-wing militia movement can also be seen as the extreme wing of the men's rights movement, a backlash by men whose gender, racial, and sexual identities have been dramatically challenged over the past generation. Some men's violence against women can be seen as a response to women's increased assertions of their right to equality, with the violence being men's attempt to maintain the power and control they fear they're losing. We can see the rise in gay bashing as a direct result of the degree to which some men are panicked by a loosening up of the traditional strictures of manhood and an opening up of sexualities and different kinds of lifestyles among men. So we have to be vigilant to protect the gains of the past generation, but we also have to move forward and offer boys a more positive set of alternatives. Instituting these changes will take a lot of courage, and more intelligence, in fact, than is required for putting on the tough guys.
Something about the safety of all the girls and the women that come to our shows. I think we can talk and work with the security people to make sure they know and understand about sexual harassment and rape, and they know how to handle these situations. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully.
It means having the guts to support girls and women and work with them in their striving for justice and equal treatment. It means speaking out against teen dating violence, sexual harassment, and the countless ways that some boys and men abuse and mistreat girls and women. For heterosexual people, male and female, it means having the courage to join gay-straight alliances and in other ways support the aspirations of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered people to be treated with dignity and respect and to be free from the threat of violence. All of this is going to take a lot of work, and it's not going to happen with just individual boys and men being more reflective about their choices. It's going to have to happen both on a personal and on an institutional level. Everyone has a role to play here, and not just men. While girls and women are not responsible for men's violence, they too have an important role to play, because the tough guys is attractive to men in part because they see many girls and women validating it. Girls and women have to show that they're looking for more in men than bad boy posturing, and in particular, that they value men who reject the tough guys. We also have to work to change the institutions that create our present choices. For example, we need to break the monopoly of the media system that we've been looking at, where mostly rich white men dictate to the whole society the kinds of images and stories of manhood that surround us. Many men today are searching for new, healthier, self-respecting ways of being men in a rapidly changing world. We need to hear their stories too and learn from them. In different ways, all of us have to struggle for real cultural and structural changes in this society if we want our sons and their sons to have a chance of being better men.